What's happening, ITP? I'm so glad you joined me for another spooktacular video in the month of Spooktober as we take another look into the paranormal. So as usual, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below to get notified when I post my next video. Also, if you like this video, the ones from the past and the ones to come, be sure to give it a like. So let's get started with the spookiness. So we're all familiar with the monsters of the big screen, such as vampires, werewolves, Frankenstein, the Mummy, Godzilla. But in this video, we're going to talk about the monsters of folklore, legends, and even real-life sightings. So the first monster I'm going to be talking about is gremlins. And no, I'm not talking about the furry or evil creatures of Steven Spielberg horror films from my childhood and maybe your childhood. I'm talking about real-life gremlins of folklore. Now, accounts of these mischievous sprites who are reported to wreak havoc on aircraft functionality, and no, I'm not talking about even the Twilight Zone episode where a gremlin was messing with the plane, if you're old enough to remember that episode. But first accounts of these gremlins popped up in the Royal Air Force slang of World War II. So if you live in the desert Southwest or in Mexico, I'm sure you've heard of this next monster, and that is of the chupacabra. Now, the name chupacabra comes from the Spanish word chupa, meaning to suck, and cabra meaning goat, which it was named in relation to its first victim, goats or other livestock found drained of all their blood. Now, there have been many sightings of these creatures, and some of those have turned out to be either foxes or coyotes with mange. But could this creature, this monster, still exist? Or is it just legend of the desert Southwest in Mexico? So for the next monster, we have to jump across the pond, if you will, to Ireland to talk about banshees. Now, banshees, from the Irish being Sidhe, and hopefully I pronounced that right, it's spelled S-I-D-H-E, meaning woman of the fairies. A banshee is supposed to dwell under the window of the house where someone is about to die in Ireland or the Scottish Highlands. So the next monster we're going to talk about, we're going to stay in the same geographical area and talk about one of the most famous and well-known monsters of all, and that is of the Loch Ness Monster, also known as Nessie. Now, first sightings of this possible prehistoric creature date back to the 6th century of St. Columba's time. Now, it is in the northern part of the loch where the water is very deep and there are underwater caves there that could possibly lead to the oceans. Now, we don't know if the Loch Ness Monster spends some time out in the ocean and sometime in the deep, murky waters of the loch, but there is no scientific proof or specific proof that Nessie exists, but there have been many reported sightings since the 6th century. So we jump back across the pond to the upper east coast of North America to talk about the Jersey Devil. Now, the Jersey Devil, a fabled inhabitant of the sparsely populated Pine Barrens region of New Jersey. Now, this creature is a kangaroo-like creature with a horse or dog head, dragon-like wings, a tail, and horns. Even the New Jersey hockey team named their mascot after this fabled creature. So for the next monster, you might think of such things as The Walking Dead or Zombieland or World War Z, but did you know that it was once singular, zombie? Now the concept of a zombie, a soulless corpse being brought back to life by witchcraft or other means, actually began in a religion of some West African tribes. So for the next monster, we go all the way over to the Himalayas to talk about the Yeti. Now the Yeti is a big hairy creature that resembles a human or bear-like creature living in the highest parts of the Himalayas. Now Yeti is derived from the Tibetan word yeta, meaning little man-like animal, which doesn't strike much fear in the hearts of men. So let's talk about the next monster, which is a distant cousin in North America of the Yeti, and that is Sasquatch, or better known as Bigfoot. Now, the actual word Sasquatch comes from the indigenous Native American language, Salish. I don't know if I pronounced that right or not, but if I messed it up, please leave a comment down below and let me know. But I've had a sighting of Bigfoot, and most people know of Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest and Canada, but all across the United States there are different forms of Sasquatch. Georgia has the skunk ape, and so forth. There's different names for Sasquatch or Bigfoot all across the country. So yes, it comes from the Native American folklore of the Pacific Northwest, where I kind of had my sighting up in the highest point in Northern California, or just about. But they're all over the country. Now, if you've had a sighting of Sasquatch or Bigfoot, please leave a comment down below and I will respond to that, and maybe even do a video and talk about it. Release the Kraken. Next monster is the Kraken, a huge sea monster that resembles a giant squid, was first spotted off the coast of Norway. Now, these creatures are believed to be long gone, or these giant creatures such as like the megalodon, the kraken, everything like that. But in the deepest part of the ocean, which we still haven't completely mapped out our own ocean. We've mapped out more of our space and outer space than we have our oceans. So do these creatures such as the kraken still exist in the deepest part of the ocean? You decide. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. So the last monster we're going to talk about is the werewolf. And this creature is part man, part wolf, typically changing for a period of time when the moon is full. Now, the word wolf in the word is obvious, but where does where come from? Well, where, the Old English wer, W-E-R, actually means man. And so man wolf or wolf man. Um, but there are sights of these creatures, or been sightings of these creatures um, throughout our history and even in today. Uh, the Dogman in Michigan is a werewolf or a man wolf, extremely big wolf-like creature that can stand on its two hind legs. So these creatures are out there. Now, if you've had any sightings of these, I would love to hear about them. So let me know in the comments below, but tell me what you think. Do you think these monsters that I talked about tonight exist? Bigfoot, the Kraken, werewolves, banshees, all that. Let me know what you think. Now, one monster I didn't talk about is the Mothman, popular from the Mothman Prophecy movie. I will get into that at a later time, but check out that monster. So I'm so glad you joined me as we took a look at some of the monsters throughout folklore and in real life. Now, as I stated, this is Spooktober, and we're going to do talk about some scary stuff during the month of October. And I want to thank you all for continuing to watch this, support this, subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't done so, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It means the world to me. And also, the very last week in this month, I'm going to be doing a YouTube video where you, the viewers, can be a part of it. Now, if you go to Into the Paranormal on Facebook, ITP Into the Paranormal on Facebook, you can find information on this thing. But I'm going to mention it here. The last weekend, I'm going to post a video, and I want to have you send me videos of your paranormal experience, your ghost stories, all that. And I will choose from all those that are submitted. I'm only going to choose 5 because I don't want to make it too long. But I'll choose 5 of them to be in the YouTube video. Share your paranormal experience, ghost stories, everything like that. And you too can be part of Into the Paranormal. So until next week, thank you for watching, and I shall see you on the dark side.